are you ready? When these in the land, just put up your hand.
Well, what started out as an exciting day turned out to be very attritional as Pakistan grinded the West Indies to be 212 for 4 at close on day one of the very crucial second test. Hello, everyone. Welcome to On Tour. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Well, you know, the nail-biter last Sunday, everyone has been talking about it all week. So they were looking forward to see what would happen for this second test. The West Indies, they won the toss and they chose to field first. Let's have a look at the scorecard. Pakistan were in early trouble. It was almost a crisis. They were 2 for 3, losing the early wickets there of Abid Ali, Imran Butt, and Azir Ali for 1-1 and a duck. But then a tremendous stand, taking the total from 3 for 2 to 160 without further loss between the captain Babar Azam and Fawad Alam, only to be separated by injury as Alam had to go off retired hurt for 76. But Azam continued to bat so well, 13 fours in a 75, and then another good stand there between Mohammad Rizwan and Fahim Ashraf. They're taking the Pakistan total from 168 for 4 to 212 without further loss. The West Indies were led by the ever-impressive Kemar Roach. He continues to bowl beautifully, 3 for 49 so far, and then 1 wicket to Jayden Seals. So that's how the scorecard is looking. Of course, there was only one change to the West Indies. They dropped Jamal Warrican, who didn't bowl very much in that first test. And like I said, they brought in Azari Joseph, who didn't look quite impressive with his bowling, but we'll discuss that with the panel. We've got former West Indies fast bowler Tino Bess, and we also have son of the soil in Jamaica, none other than Nikita Killamilla, the former left-arm bowler, who would call himself a bit of an all-rounder, but we know he was primarily picked for Jamaica and the West Indies for his fantastic bowling. Nikita, so glad to have you on tour. Since you're here first, Nikita, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the day's play with the West Indies, 3 for 2, or 2 for 3 if you want to call it that, and then a very good stand. How did you see it after day one, 212 for 4?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. My first time on the show. I think today was a balanced day. When you look at it, the way we started, we got some early wickets there. I think the bowlers overall was very disciplined, right? You know, it was assisting the seamers this morning. But many a times as bowlers, you turn up at a test venue or at a match, and the pitch is assisting you, and you're not hitting the areas that you want to. But I must credit the bowlers this morning. I think they were hitting the areas, right? All of them. I mean, apart from, say, Joseph, who came on in the latter stages of the morning, he was probably the odd one out of the bunch who didn't really get a good start. But overall, the seamers really, you know, hit their straps, hit good areas, and put the batsmen under severe pressure this morning. I must give credit to the batters, especially Babar and what's his name? Funny action guy there. Right.
Yeah.
He stood. He's just like Shiv. He reminds me a lot like Shiv. You know, he stood up, surprised me a bit. He scored that. He was scoring faster than Azam. I mean, but than Babar. So I mean, listen, they stuck to the task. They put on a massive partnership for Pakistan, and that I believe kept them in the game, and to end the day 200 for 4 is really good for Pakistan. But overall, I would say that West Indies did a great job limiting them to under 300, under 250 for the day, which was great, I believe. Disciplined bowling. Long may it continue.
All right, good assessment there, Nikita Miller. Now, Tino, let me come to you and discuss the fast bowling then, because the West Indies would have been looking to perhaps get at least 6 or 7 wickets by the end of the day, seeing that they won the toss and chose to bowl first. How excited were you when those 3 wickets fell, and where did they go wrong during the day? Your full thoughts and assessment on the day's play, Tino Bess.
Barry, I thought that they didn't assess the pitch properly from a starting 11 point of view. I just thought that there wasn't as much grass on the surface than the first test, Barry. If you look at the surface, you can see it ain't got that live grass on it as much as the first one. So I felt that you could have left Warrican in the team, because I did say on my social media handle that if it was up to me, I would replace Warwick Khan with Azari Joseph. But my decision was going to be made on that final morning, well, the first morning of the test match. When you got there and you assess the pitch and you see what the surface is like, you would have made that final 11 there. But I would have kept Warwick Khan in the game, in the squad, and look to because the wicket looked like it's gonna turn, Barry. I thought the bowlers were brilliant. There were 46 deliveries that the West Indies bowled that either missed the outside edge or the inside edge. And I think that's incredible disciplines. I must commend Roddy Eswate for doing a terrific job with the bowlers. And Kemar Roach continued to lead from the front. Young Fields continue to impress. And Jason, he looks good. 12, 13 overs for 18 or 19 runs. So the bowlers really stuck to the task, and they did well. On the other hand, with Pakistan, absolutely brilliant. That is what Test cricket is about. It's about fighting your way out of difficult situations. And the West Indies batsmen can take from this as well, Barry, and look at their game and see when the West Indies get in trouble, how you're supposed to fight. And I thought it was a good, enterprising day of Test cricket. Well, both to the West Indies, they stuck to the task, but evenly balanced because Pakistan fought, and they fought to keep themselves well in tune with this Test match.
Yeah, very well said, Tino. So, since we have a left-arm spinner on the panel, Jamal, Nikita, you know Sabina Park very, very well. Jamal Warrican, Tino was saying that he might have kept Jamal Warrican. Being a left-arm spinner, would he have benefited from bowling on that particular surface? Your thoughts on Warrican and that change that the West Indies team made in the final 11?
I can understand the change, and when you look at the last game and how it transpired, I can understand the change, right? Because you have Chase in the team as a spinner. He bowled, I would say, a little bit more consistently than Warrican in the first innings of the first game. So I can understand the fact that no spinner got any wickets in the first game, right? It's a green surface, square, right, where all the pitches have grass on it. Some more than the others, but I can understand the change. But I like to have a spinner, a frontline spinner in the team at all times, right? And the fact that you have Chase, that is a batsman.
And you're not being biased. You're not being biased saying that.
No, not being biased, because I wouldn't have expected Warrican to bowl today, or a lot today, because of the nature of the pitch at Sabina Park. But the longer the game goes on, spinners come into the game. When you look at the history of cricket, spinners were meant to come into the game after the third, fourth, fifth day. So I personally like to have a spinner in the team, and as I've said before, with Chase as the batting option, we have a lot of batsmen. When you look at the wicket-keeper batting at 8, you have enough batting cover. So I agree with Tina there. I would have stuck with Warrican or another spinner, whichever one it is. But because you have another off spinner on the bench, I would have stuck with Warrican, because it gives you another option. Chase as the off spinner, left arm spinner gives you that option going across the right-hand batsman. So, as I said, I can understand the decision, right, that the selectors made, and I'm not really criticizing them for it, but I personally would have gone or stuck with, Warrican.
Tino, it's interesting that he has that view, because listening to the commentators, they felt perhaps Azari, given the opportunity, did not really make use of it. Where did Azari go wrong, Tino? You being a former pacer yourself, he did not, out of the players, the bowlers that delivered today, he was the one that looked the weaker link. Is he perhaps a bit cold? Where did he go wrong? Tell me, Tino.
Yeah, look, Azari would have been disappointed not to start the first test, having bowled so well in the ODIs, Barry. And at the end of the day, as a bowler, you want to be playing because you want to get those reps in. Bowling in the nets is nothing like bowling in the game, Barry. I can tell you that. The adrenaline, the energy, the effort that you're going to put in the nets is completely different to the effort that your body's going to feel in the game, because your adrenaline is going to be rushing and you're going to be hitting that crease consistently. When you're in the nets, you can cruise through. But look, he looked short of work, Barry. His pace was up. He got up to 144. So you can see that he has his pace. His pace is there. But obviously, he needs those reps in games, obviously, to get his lane and get his length right. But I would have stuck to Roy Khan because the surface is not as green as the first test. And that's why I would have stuck with Roy Khan, Barry. And he would have come into the game later in the fourth innings and later in the game as the game progressed. But he looked short of work, and you can see that, Barry. He bowled 5 overs for 30-odd runs. And that tells me that that bowler is short of work. But in terms of his rhythm and his energy level, it looks good. But he just is short of work.
All right, you're watching On Tour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have to be balanced. We're going to look at the batting of Fawad Alam and also Babar Azam. You're watching On Tour on FlowSports.
It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up. It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of.
So welcome back to On Tour. The Pakistan team resuming on 212 for 4. Tino and, of course, Nikita, I want to talk to you a little bit about Babar Azam and Fawad Alam. I know you alluded to it earlier, Nikita, about Fawad Alam. We're going to get to you and talk to him about Fawad Alam. Tino, I'll let you handle Babar Azam. You're talking about a player who, he only has a handful of test centuries, but he has a lot of half centuries. He tends to get to 50 and up about 17, 18 times, but he just has a problem going on. Let's examine him. He's really a class act. But what is it about Babar Azam that he's unable to have perhaps a better conversion rate if you had to analyze his batting?
Yeah, I mean, pure class, Barry. I first saw him a few years ago, and he has one of the most exquisite cover drives. And what I love about his technique as well, he waits on the ball. He reminds me a lot of Yunus Khan. He's very difficult to dislodge.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to produce quality deliveries. And what was impressive about his knock was his dismissal. I know it sounds a bit weird, but he did not give away his hand. He got out by a proper top-class delivery from Kemar Roach. That was a peach of a delivery. The one before, he held his line. He played straight down the middle of the pitch. He did not go away from his body. The ball beat his outside edge. And Kemar Roach, by having all the experience and the opportunities to consistently play, he understands his craft so superbly. He came out with another delivery. He went a little wider, and he nicked him off. And Babar Azam was playing down the right line. It was just a Jaffa. And that's what you want to see from your front line batsmen, from your star players. Bowlers taking the batsman hand away. That wasn't the batsman giving his hand away. That was a hell of a delivery. And look, Babar played wonderfully all day, Barry. The way he composed the innings, coming in at 2 down, and then to be at the other end to see 3 down for 2 runs, Barry, and to make 75 and to be in that partnership of 160 odd was marvelous to watch. And his conversion rate will happen as he understands his batting and stuff as he gets older and he gets more experience. But look, he's quality, Barry. And I got Virat Kohli, I got him, and I got Joe Root, Steve Smith, and my guy Kane Williamson. That's the big five in world cricket. They're quality players, and you can see why they're quality players.
Yeah, I cannot argue with you at all, Tino. Now, Nikita, you mentioned about Fawad Alam in terms of how he bats, this very weird stance. He actually, as we heard today, perhaps on the commentary, he actually got some tips from Shivnam Shanpal, and are you not surprised? I mean, he looks quite a lot like Shiv, even wider than Shiv. But he's effective. What makes it as a bowler so difficult then to deliver to him? Because most of the bowlers that have delivered to him say that he could be a bit difficult to bowl to.
Most definitely. When I look at Fawad, right, and a lot of persons don't pick this up, at just about the when the bowler is going to deliver to him, he's side on. So he starts at, say, a chest arm position. This can throw a bowler off. You understand what I mean? So, but just about when the bowler is going to deliver the ball, he's in position and ready to play. So he's balanced. His eyes is level. His eyes are level, right? And he's ready to deliver his strokes, right? So for youngsters looking on, don't worry about what he does before just about when the bowler is going to deliver the ball, he's in place to play. So this I believe works in his favor, and on the flip side works against the bowlers, right? This is a guy who, in the last game, there's a trend that was broken. Each time he gets to 50, he has 4 centuries, and every time he gets past 50, it's 100. So I'm a bit worried for the bowlers tomorrow. He's on 75, 76 runs, thereabouts. And generally he goes on to score centuries. We just spoke about Babar in terms of his conversion rate, right? This guy has no problems converting 50s into centuries, right? So I'm thinking, Babar, if you need tips, as he has taken tips from Shiv and batting and so on, Babar, you just need to reach out to Azam. He can help you in terms of conversion rate. You understand? Last Test match was the first time he has scored a half century, right? So his numbers now sits at 4 centuries and a half century, and this one looks very much like another century, which would take him to number 5. He's unorthodox, but he spends a lot of time looking at the ball. Something that I believe we can take into our batting. I don't think that we're looking at the ball for long enough as batters. Craig is one of those guys who you get the impression he's looking at the ball for long, right? So I'm just hoping, even though we're speaking about the Pakistani batters, I just believe that this guy is a great example of keeping your eyes on the ball, being balanced, and being ready to play just before the bowler delivers.
Excellent stuff there, Nikita Miller. Very solid. Tino, I want to talk to you about young De Silva. He had a bit of an injury today, had to go off. How did Jamar Hamilton do in place of him? Your thoughts on the keeper, Hamilton, and then also De Silva was beginning to take some really good catches early on as well. Your thoughts on the keeping of De Silva and Jamar Hamilton, Tino, best?
Yeah, De Silva continues to improve. He taken 8 catches last game, and he's taken 2 so far this innings. But Hamilton came in obviously because De Silva was injured. But Hamilton looks good. He's a very good little keeper, a very little handy little cricketer. But at the end of the day, I just disappointed I don't see Shane Durridge around. That's the honest truth. But he's a forgotten man in West Indies cricket, and there's no cricket around for him to force his way back into the West Indies. And I think that's the hardest thing for him right now, to be honest. But the wicket keeping of Jamar Hamilton, it looked clean, he looked sharp, it looked crisp. And I think he's one that maybe next in line if De Silva goes down. And to be honest, Shane Durridge, I feel for Dow, because Dow was one of our better batsmen over the last 3 or 4 years. So that is just how the cookie crumbles at times. But De Silva looks good. Young Jamar Hamilton looks good as well. And our wicket keeping bunch, they looks good. They look competent, and that's wonderful to watch.
Yeah, I think the most unfortunate thing for Shane Durridge and some other members of the West Indies team is that there's no first-class competition going on. So unfortunately, there's no way to show your form or to let people remember you, if that's something that we wanted to discuss. All right, when we come back on tour, we're going to hear from Roddy Estwick. He is the, of course, assistant coach there of the West Indies team, very much in charge of the bowling as well. We're going to hear from him, his thoughts on the day's play, and then we'll just get a wrap from the guys. We'll be back on tour.
It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up. It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up.
All right, so we're back for the last lap on tour. Of course, the West Indies having Pakistan 212 for 4. Roddy Estwick is very much the man with the West Indies team. Let's get his thoughts on the day's play.
Well, it was a hard day for us. It was very, very hot. Obviously, for the first hour, there was some moisture in the pitch, and we utilised that. But once the pitch eased out, you've got to give credit to the 2 Pakistani batsmen. I thought they batted very well. But what we did well after tea is we stopped the scoring. We were able to frustrate them. And what we've been asking for now is discipline, and they really showed that. So credit to the bowlers as well. It was a good day of Test cricket.
Thank you so much, Roddy Estwick. Gentlemen, in 30 seconds, Tino, who would you start the bowling with on day 2? And then I'll also ask the same question to Nikita Miller. You first, Tino.
Yeah, you got to start with your two opening bowlers. You will start with Seals and Kemar Roach. And, just give them both 5 over spells and try to break this partnership and get into that long middle order. But really and truly, West Indies have to show discipline once again this morning. They got to run in. They got to bowl quick. The Pacers, whenever they get the opportunity, especially Azari, just back yourself. That spell is gone. Once the opportunity is given, run in and bowl as quickly as you can. Keep that head still. And I know that Roddy Esther will be in his ear as well. And just enjoy it. Enjoy Test cricket. This is what it's all about. And hopefully West Indies can restrict them to under 260, 270. I think that will be a wonderful bowling effort first up for the West Indies.
Do you agree with that, Nikita Miller?
I must say I agree with Tino. We don't agree a lot, but yeah, on this one I totally agree. Yeah, the two opening bowlers that did well today, and I would definitely start with them tomorrow, and hope that the discipline is the same as it was this morning. I think Kemar is giving the left-hander a bit of problem coming around the wicket. So hopefully he along with the rest of bowlers can be very disciplined. You don't want the runs to get too far over 300 runs, right? 250, 270, and you're backing yourself to get those runs and getting a big, huge person in total. Right? If we're looking to win this game or even draw this game, we must put up a very good first innings total.
Wonderful stuff from Nikita Miller there. Very solid. And Tino Best, thank you so much, guys, for being with us on tour. So Pakistan, 212 for 4. We'll be back, of course, at the end of the day to discuss how the Windies and Pakistan fought in this very interesting Test series. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Bye-bye for now.
To jump up, people, are you